Tonight, legends honoured as AFL season 2026 kicks off in Sydney. Not seen since World War II, the US torpedoes an Iranian warship, declaring the country toast. Emotional reunions as the first flight out of Dubai lands back on home soil. The monster who beat a Bedford mother to death in her home, jailed for life. And breakthrough an AI tool to detect hidden breast cancer that mammograms miss.
This is 9 News Perth with Michael Thomson.
Good evening. Two legends from very different backgrounds are both being honoured tonight as the first game of the AFL season gets underway in Sydney. On the ground ahead of the season opener, a tribute to Bondi hero Ahmed Al-Ahmad, while a half-time pause honoured iconic commentator Dennis Cometti.
A season opener for the AFL and a touching tribute for Bondi from the new CEO of the Sydney Swans.
Tonight we stand with their families and friends united.
Matthew Pavlich honouring the heroes who risked their lives to save others before the first bounce.
The many brave men and women who assisted on the day and in the days and weeks which followed.
From New South Wales paramedics, hospital staff, Bondi lifeguards, police and SES. A sea of red reserving their biggest cheer for this national legend, the Sydney father who disarmed one of the alleged Bondi shooters.
And representing our community heroes, please make welcome Ahmed Al-Ahmad.
Then a moment of silence at the SCG, players in black armbands. Half-time came more tributes for Aussie legends. Sports commentator Dennis Cometti, who passed away on the eve of the AFL season, aged 76.
He gave the game a sense of humour. Ben always made the players the heroes, and in doing so he became theirs. And Dan will never forget your lines. Librarians, rare gold, stadiums holding its breath, corks and centimetres.
The Prime Minister also praising the broadcast legend as a true original in federal parliament.
He elevated for us by having an eagle eye, a brilliant insight, and his distinctive humour, the product of both meticulous preparation and spontaneous genius.
Premier Roger Cook today revealing he'll offer Dennis Cometti's family a state funeral. Rachel Langdon, 9 News.
For the first time since World War II, the United States has launched a torpedo to sink an enemy warship. The attack on the Iranian vessel off Sri Lanka's coast killed 87 people in a dramatic escalation of the Middle East conflict. Mimi Becker with the latest.
Modern warfare through the eyes of a periscope. The IRIS Dina warship locked in, then in pieces. A quiet death followed by a loud victory lap.
They are toast, and they know it.
9 News can reveal there were 2 Australians on board the US submarine that launched the hit. The IRIS Dina is the largest of more than 20 ships from the Iranian regime that US forces have struck, all sunk. And the Pentagon claims Iran's ballistic missile strikes are down 86% from the first day of fighting.
America is winning, decisively, devastatingly, and without mercy.
Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
The Commander-in-Chief doubling down, maintaining that the US had 2 weeks to destroy a nuclear threat.
When crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen.
Israel continued its air offensive in Tehran. Those who can flee through neighbouring Armenia.
Everybody in Iran, they are afraid.
They are so brave. They want to end this regime.
Surin Edgar's sister is in Tehran. Overnight, she sent him a very emotional voice note, saying the attacks were non-stop and very close to where she lives.
She told me not to let her daughter return to Iran because it's simply too dangerous right now for them.
In Lebanon, the IDF took aim at what it says were Hezbollah targets in Beirut and deployed troops in the south. In a matter of hours, tens of thousands were uprooted.
Families left behind their homes, all their belongings and their sense of normalcy.
The displaced spending the night in public squares or seeking shelter in empty schools. This war continues to bleed over borders. Baghdad was engulfed in darkness after a power cut, missiles landing in Syria becoming a makeshift playground. And while it appears Iran's return fire is depleted, the threats have not disappeared. Hospitals moving their operations underground, like the Khalid Health Service.
So here are all the very, very ill patients of the hospital, which we should provide them continuously the best care, even under war.
The youngest little lives protected. Gal Al-Azir's baby boy was born on the day of the first strikes.
We chose the name Shalev, which is mean peaceful. We hope he will bring us peace and quietness, and he will be the antithesis of this situation.
Where these little people have joined us in the world at a time which they have not chosen, but we have to be sure that we give them a safe place.
In underground shelters across Tel Aviv, people and puppies wait for a missile threat to subside. Among them, Hosro Namati, an Iranian-American in Israel.
And I'm so glad it's happened. This regime is going out. This is my dream.
So are you happy that the Israelis and US have struck Iran and started this war?
Yes, we are very happy. They did the best.
And Mimi Becker is in Tel Aviv. Mimi, despite the extraordinary events that are unfolding, life is starting to return to normal.
Tomo, slowly it will. Schools will remain closed, but people will soon be able to gather with more than 50 others and also allowed to return to work if it's in a protected space. This is perhaps a sign that Israel is comfortable with its position in this conflict, despite Iran saying there will be repercussions after that torpedo attack. Israel has continued to fire at Tehran today, Tomo.
Thank you. NATO's air defences have shot down an Iranian missile fired towards Turkey just before it entered the country's airspace, with nations now bolstering their defences in the Middle East. British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer says fighter jets are in the region, while helicopters with anti-drone capabilities are on the way. Greece also sending warships and fighter jets. Spain won't participate, despite the White House believing the opposite.
And it's my understanding over the past several hours they've agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military.
The US Senate showing support for the president blocked a bid to rein in his war powers. They've waited for days and finally Australians stranded in the Middle East have arrived back on home soil. First flight out of Dubai had 200 people on board, with at least 3 more to come.
A wartime evacuation and home never felt so good.
Yeah, she's back!
The arrival hall at Sydney Airport overflowing with relief and joy for loved ones who've been trapped for 5 days in an unfolding battle.
Just I'm worried about her to get back home, and that's it.
In our family, it's the happiest days in our life,
exactly.
Having her back.
The lucky 200 people were on the first repatriation flight out of Dubai to Australia.
14 Super Sydney Tower, good evening and welcome back. It has been a moment.
Thanks to Emirates for getting us home on this flight. What was touchdown? Everyone was cheering and clapping. Quite emotional, yeah. Glad to be home.
And that's understandable. It was as if everyone had their own story of being caught up in a war.
The booms and the booms, the sirens went off, and you look in the sky and all these missiles, the fiery trails are coming, and everybody starts freaking.
Professional tennis player James McCabe was in the middle of a match.
Yesterday a drone hit probably 10 minutes from where we were playing, and the oil factory was going up in smoke and we were right next to it, so it was a bit scary.
A group of students from Sydney's Barker College were en route to Turkey for a robotics competition.
Some of them have seen some things that we need to talk to them a bit about, some debriefing. We'll do that. But in the meantime, we just rejoice that they're home safe.
For Philip Vins, the fear factor haunted him to the end.
There were still explosions happening around 10 p.m. as we actually get into the airport.
Mum, how are you feeling as well? Oh, I'm so relieved. I'm so happy to have him home.
And there were Americans and Canadians on board, so desperate to get out, it didn't matter where they ended up.
I kept booking flights. This one actually went through, so thank you, Australia.
But for some, it came at a huge cost.
More than $100,000 to get back home.
US, yeah. We're not done yet.
And as many watched the war play out from their hotel rooms or on the streets, they marvelled at the UAE's defence system.
They were really good. Like, they intercepted a lot, and like, as scary as it is, like, you somewhat felt like safe in a way.
Last night's scenes are expected to be repeated here this evening as another repatriation flight is bound for Sydney. And Operation Bring Them Home is cranking up. At least 2 more plane loads tomorrow, including one to Melbourne. And it was just in time for bride-to-be Alessandra Fiscaldo.
Mixture of emotions. We felt quite safe overall, but we're getting married next week, so finally we can make that wedding.
Damien Ryan, 9 News.
And as the Iran conflict expands, there is growing concern that the US and Gulf states will soon run short of missiles. With Iran's production far outstripping Western supply, the region's protective shield is rapidly nearing breaking point.
Various systems, the US Patriot and THAAD systems, and Israel's Iron Dome have provided a defensive shield from Iranian missile attacks around the Gulf. It's been likened to hitting a bullet with a bullet, except the missiles are faster than any bullet. And it's 85 to 90% effective, although debris from missiles shot down can still be deadly. But just days into the war, air defence stocks are running low. It's estimated the US has been burning through a year's supply of THAAD missiles every 12 to 18 hours. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Iran was producing more than 100 ballistic missiles a month. That's 10 times the number of interceptor missiles the US can build. And it's expensive. A suicide drone can cost Iran $25,000 to make. A Patriot missile to take it out, $4 million. A military doctrine says 2 defensive missiles are fired to ensure the attack is neutralised. It's been likened to using a Lamborghini to stop a lawnmower. Donald Trump claims the US has an endless supply of munitions, yet America has started moving air defence systems from Asia to the Middle East. That's why it's targeting Iranian launch systems, as missile experts say the UAE and Qatar could run out of stocks within days.
In other news, the family of a Bedford mother who labelled the man who bludgeoned her to death a monster. Peter Damjanovic today jailed for life as his lawyer tried to argue the judge should be thrown off the case.
Tiffany Woodley gave her abusive partner a home after he was kicked out of a homeless shelter. Weeks later, he beat her to death. Today, Peter Damjanovic handed a life sentence with a minimum of 21 years in jail.
He deserved it. He deserves it. He is not going to be bringing back my sister.
Justice was served today.
The 37-year-old was using meth and drank half a bottle of port wine hours before the attack in August 2023. The couple started a heated argument inside the mother of three's Bedford home when the father became violent, beating Tiffany Woodley with his fists, a shower head and then a metal towel rail.
He is a monster. He is a monster.
The killer's defence lawyer said Judge Natalie Whitby should be taken off the case, arguing the judge's husband, Police Minister Reece Whitby, had been at domestic violence rallies attended by Miss Woodley's family, saying it wasn't an active bias, rather a matter of perception. The judge dismissed the application. The court heard Peter Damjanovic initially fought the murder charge, claiming he didn't intend to kill his partner. But on day one of the murder trial last October, he changed his plea. The victim's family standing against domestic violence and honouring their loved one.
It's a lifetime sentence for me, and not seeing my firstborn child ever again.
Ezra Holt, 9 News.
And if you or someone you know is the victim of domestic violence, there is help. Call 1-800-RESPECT. That's 1-800-737-732. Canada's Prime Minister has spent the day in Canberra on a mission to forge an important alliance. In an address to Parliament, Mark Carney said a new partnership was needed to protect against increasingly volatile superpowers.
Weapons of war at a time of unrest. Canada's Prime Minister given a welcome fit for a president as he questions whether the president is fit for the alliance. Addressing a joint session of Parliament with a new plan for a joint future.
Two sovereign nations, two proud democracies, the true north and the land down under, navigating with the same values.
Values from trade to technology, the military to mining.
Together we produce 1/3 of global lithium, 1/3 of global uranium, 40% of iron ore. In fairness, that's largely you.
Signing a new deal for critical minerals, a foundation for a new partnership of middle powers to stand up to the might of China and the United States.
When we work together, it is on the basis of our shared convictions, not mutual convenience.
The rules-based international order has been exposed as wishful thinking of a bygone and benign era.
The visit comes at a time of great change for Canada. Prime Minister Carney pivoting away from his nearest neighbour in America and to like-minded friends around the globe.
The world will always be driven by great powers, but it can also be shaped by middle powers that trust each other and act with speed and purpose.
Prime Minister Carney, you spoke a lot about trust in your speech. Do you trust Donald Trump? And can Australia trust Donald Trump?
We need to build on what we have in order to re-establish that trust commercially.
The Carney plan to include Europe, India and Japan.
When the rules no longer protect you, you must defend yourself.
Charles Croucher, 9 News.
As the first game of the AFL season is underway tonight, back home the Eagles are seeking a rise up the ladder in 2026. Paddy Sweeney is live from their season launch, and Paddy, West Coast want improvement in what is a milestone year for the club.
Everyone is Tomo. Good evening to you. And yesterday the Eagles trained here at the main oval at Lathlane. Tonight it's the scene of their season launch, and I'm joined by the Eagles CEO in Don Pike. Don, thanks so much for joining us. As I just mentioned, the season is upon us, but it does come with a heavy heart after the passing of legendary commentator Dennis Cometti.
Yeah, very sad news, but an icon in WA footy, Dennis, and he was the voice of football for many, many years, and a sharp mind and a quick wit, and yeah, very, very sad loss for the industry. And I know being in Sydney yesterday and with the AFL people, you know, it was felt across the whole competition.
Yeah, and I think it will be felt for some time as well. Don, on tonight, there's around 700 people here celebrating the club. Significant night, but also significant season as you embark on what is your 4th decade in the competition.
Yeah, we celebrate the 40 years this year, and something slightly different tonight. We decided to bring the season launch to the footy where it's all at, and this is where the guys go through here at Mineral Resource Park. So great to have our coteries and our sponsors and fans down here to see in the season. But 40 years, yeah, it seems to have gone really quickly, but you know, we're now embarking on that 5th decade.
There's a lot of highlights in the 4 decades. This club is built on success, 4 flags, 23 finals campaigns. I guess the fans want to know, it's been a number of lean years now. When will it turn around? Well, as quickly as possible is the plan, and we sort of feel like with the list changes we've made and some of the coaching changes, we've got a really good group. We think we've got the pieces for the jigsaw. We just got to get them all together, and we're seeing a bit of that. Some of these guys haven't played a lot of footy together, so it'll take a little bit of time for them to gel, but really confident in the talent we've put on board. Well, a new season brings about renewed optimism. Dom, thanks so much for your time and all the best for the season ahead. Thanks, Paddy. Cheers. There you have it, Eagles CEO Don Pike there. And Tomo, I'll be back a little bit later with sport, as well as the Eagles from their club, as well as the Dockers, their season launch held earlier today. Footy is back, Paddy. Thank you. It's been a hot Thursday, but an even hotter weekend is on the way. Natalia, the perfect outlook for a visit to the beach.
Yes, Tomo, plenty of good reasons to come to the beach, including to see Sculpture by the Sea, which is back at Cottesloe. The free exhibition, which features 70 different works, officially opens tomorrow, so we're getting a sneak peek. It's set to attract 200,000 visitors to our shores, and it runs until March 23. Well, it was warm last night. 21 was our low before we climbed to a top of 36.7 just before 1 this afternoon. The coast was definitely the place to be today, much hotter in our eastern suburbs. Pearce hitting 39.6 and the Swan Valley 38.6. Compare that to nearby Swanbourne, which topped out at 31.9 and Hillary's at 29.7. Tomorrow will be hot as well, and Saturday is set to peak at 38 degrees. It's all due to a deep trough down the west coast. If you like the cooler weather, well then you'll like next week's forecast. I'll be back with all the details from Sculpture by the Sea at Cottesloe a little later tomorrow.
Perfect night to be down by the sea too. Natalia, thank you. A Gosnell's father guilty of killing his newborn daughter. It's the second time he's gone to trial for the same crime. Details next. Kyle Sandilands seen for the first time. Hear what he has to say. Why Elon Musk has been called before a Californian court, and hold your breath, it's the closest of calls, a frightening lift malfunction. A Perth father is back behind bars tonight, found guilty a second time of killing his newborn daughter. After a 7-day retrial, the jury declared Juan Versace shook baby Alia so violently he caused her a traumatic brain injury.
A father, now a convicted killer for a second time. Juan Daniel Versace guilty of the manslaughter of his infant daughter. Today, after deliberating for 2 hours, a jury finding Versace shook his 4-week-old Alia so violently she suffered a traumatic brain injury. The girl's grandparents relieved after years of fighting for justice.
We're very happy with today's verdict. It's been a long 5.5 years to get to this point.
This has been incredibly difficult. We can't get her back, but she'll never be forgotten.
Alia died 4 weeks after her father, Juan Versace, shook her in their Gosnells home. The infant's mother waking to an unfamiliar cry, finding the 31-year-old in the living room holding their newborn, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Taken to hospital, scans revealed bleeding on the baby's brain. The court told Versace coached his former partner into lying before she told police the truth. This is the second time Juan Versace has been before a jury on this charge. He was convicted in 2023 but successfully appealed, leading to a 7-day retrial hearing from the baby's mother, police and healthcare workers.
It's not over until it's over, and we'll see what happens in the pre-sentencing report.
After being released on bail for this trial, Juan Versace is back behind bars tonight, waiting to be sentenced. Rachel Clifford, 9 News.
2 tourists have been beaten by a gang in a violent attack in Rockingham. Police now hunting up to 4 people who broke into a camper van in the Kwinana Horse Beach car park on Saturday night. The victims taken to hospital, assaulted with a weapon.
These 2 men were seated inside a camper van with the intent of going travelling in the camper van and were minding their own business. This attack was completely unprovoked.
The offenders took off with their bank cards. New detail tonight on the identity of a 30-year-old man allegedly murdered in Yanship bushland. We can reveal he'd been living rough. Residents repeatedly calling police after complaints of antisocial behaviour.
A crime scene of an alleged murder now revealed as the makeshift home for Zaylin Haywood, a convicted criminal who was living rough in Yanship.
I'm just here to talk about the past back in my high school days.
The 27-year-old found unconscious on Sunday night with head injuries, declared dead at the scene. Residents say he'd been living in the reserve off Marmion Avenue for the last few months, some alerting police to his antisocial behaviour, seen approaching homes late at night and exposing himself.
Get away! Just go away!
And it wasn't his first time in trouble with the law. In 2020, Zaylin Haywood was sentenced to 3 years behind bars for breaking into an elderly woman's Balga home, indecently assaulting her. Late yesterday, a breakthrough for homicide detectives, a 30-year-old man from Rivervale charged with murder. What allegedly unfolded here on Sunday night wasn't revealed in court today. The 30-year-old kept behind bars until his next appearance later this month. The second person still in custody tonight, assisting police. Amber Wilkinson, 9 News.
Elon Musk has appeared in a California court accused of deflating Twitter's stock price in the lead-up to buying the social media platform. Shareholders claim one of the billionaire's tweets declaring the purchase was temporarily on hold was a false scheme to negotiate a lower price. The trial expected to last several weeks. And a man has survived a brush with death stepping out of a faulty elevator. It shoots up, knocking his head. Happened in India, inside an apartment building. Watch again as the man narrowly avoids being crushed by the elevator, certainly lucky to have walked away with only minor injuries. Kyle Sandilands has been seen for the first time since his high-profile radio breakup with Jackie O, leaving his Sydney home in a Mercedes four-wheel drive this afternoon. On his return, asked about his future.
Do you think you and Jackie can fix this at all? Have you been able to speak to Jackie, Kyle? Are you confident you can rectify the situation, Kyle? Is this curtains, Kyle?
Kiss FM suspended Sandilands for serious misconduct after Jackie O told the station she could no longer work with him. Fears the Middle East war will have big impacts on your hip pocket here in Perth. Next, the experts who say costs could skyrocket, reminiscent of COVID times. Former Jetstar pilot Greg Lynn smiles in court despite losing his bid for freedom. A new tool how to detect hidden breast cancer that mammograms miss, and slip-slop success proves the long-running SunSmart campaign has saved lives. West Australians are being warned everything from groceries to furniture could begin to cost more as the Middle East conflict shuts down key trade routes. WA farmers also feeling the pain with ships stranded at sea.
While the war is worlds away, the impacts will be felt here. Ships stuck at sea as conflict rages in the Middle East.
So goods may not be on those shelves and we'll start to see those prices increase.
Hip pocket pain said to be felt in the coming weeks. Imports from Europe delayed.
There's furniture, there's luxury goods, some foodstuffs, some of the luxury foodstuffs will come out of there also.
WA farmers also caught up in the crisis. Fuel and freight costs on the rise.
We've had a lot of reports of meat and vegetables, especially carrots, coming out of WA that have been held up due to this crisis. By the time it will get to where it's supposed to go, if it ever gets there, the goods will probably be spoilt by then, I'd imagine.
Experts predict we could see prices hit COVID levels. A 10% increase on imports is likely, set to cause pain at the checkout. Meanwhile, close to 100 people joined together at the US consulate on St George's Terrace today. This group of Iranian people thanking President Donald Trump.
When we heard the news about the attack, we were absolutely joyful.
Hopeful about the future in Iran.
We're not calling it war. We call this a rescue operation for the people. So the war, people have been in the war for 47 years.
Another gathering planned at Forest Place this weekend. Sarah Smith, 9 News.
Alex Rivchin of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry has briefed officials in Washington on the Bondi Beach terror attack and the rise of anti-Semitism in Australia. The Jewish leader also publicly backed the US strikes on Iran.
I think it's clear that Iran is not entering into negotiations in good faith. It's not interested in abandoning its nuclear aspirations or its regional designs, and so the military option seems to be the only one.
Alex Rivchin said he would like to see a new leader who respects the rights of citizens. Former Jetstar pilot accused of killing missing camper Carol Clay in Victoria's High Country will stay in jail after his bid for freedom was refused. Publicity about his life before the case and likely further delays was one of the many reasons his lawyer argued he should be freed, telling the court his chance at a fair retrial had been obliterated. Lynn is next expected to appear in court in July of this year. Australian researchers have developed a tool that detects the risk of breast cancer by using an AI algorithm. The breakthrough program, known as BRACES, can provide a risk score researchers say could save the life of every patient.
Using AI, Associate Professor Helen Fraser has helped develop a tool that predicts breast cancer.
We've been able to train the algorithm on millions of mammographic images.
Currently, mammogram images are reviewed by 2 radiologists. If they disagree on a finding, it's sent to a third. The AI tool evaluates the same images using an algorithm to detect signs or risks of cancer. Researchers say it doesn't take over the role of a radiologist but assists them to improve the accuracy and efficiency of breast screening. The technology has expanded to generate risk scores predicting a patient's likelihood of developing breast cancer within the next 4 years.
1 in 10 women that had a breaks risk score in the top 2% went on to develop breast cancer in the next 4 years.
When Jess Armstrong was diagnosed, she was 35 with no risk factors.
If I didn't find my lump, I wouldn't have, gone into a screening program until I was, 5 years later.
Along with researchers, she hopes this breakthrough could increase early detection.
If that net can be broadened to under 40s, the possibility to save so many more Australian lives from breast cancer is huge.
The detection tool is currently being trialled in some breast screen programs. Researchers hope it will eventually be rolled out across the country.
We have the potential to detect every woman's cancer early and save every life.
Penelope Leash, 9 News.
Slip, slop, success straight after sport. How the long campaign has been a lifesaver for younger generations. And a Broadway hit lands at Crown. But first, let's go back to Paddy Sweeney at the Eagles season launch. And Paddy, the club is eager to unearth their prized picks.
Well, Tomo, West Coast added a host of young guns and they want them to shine against the Suns, as Matt Flynn backs in the club's talented teenagers to run out in round 1. Pick Pearce, the Dockers skipper, puts his hand up for the season opener. And what cricket star Elisa Healy's most looking forward to in her international farewell in Perth? Welcome back to Lathlane, where the Eagles are hosting their 2026 season launch. I caught up with ruckman Matt Flynn a short time ago as he spoke about his added responsibility after being elevated into the club's leadership group. Matt, thanks so much for your time. A recent addition to the leadership group in the off-season. How have you found the newfound responsibility?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think coming from the Giants, I came across here and knew there was a young list, and it was always something that I guess I wanted to add value in that leadership capacity. So being able to do that in an official space has been really cool this year. And mate, it's been a little bit more of a responsibility, but I'm really loving it.
You've been at the club 2 years now, and it's been a lean run, not too many wins. A heavy loss on the weekend. What's the expectations for the playing group in 2026?
Yeah, it's obviously haven't had a lot of wins over the last couple of years, and on the weekend was not the way we wanted to kickstart, I guess, our campaign, but in an unofficial sense. But I think the big thing for us is progress, and on the weekend wasn't the way that we wanted to play. However, there were some really good aspects. We were able to keep the ball in our forward 50 for a lot of the time. We didn't actually have a lot less shots than Port Adelaide. We just weren't able to convert, and our fundamentals went great.
Harley Reid is key to how the team goes this year. He seems as though he's a changed athlete. His body shape's changed. He looks fitter and faster. What's he done entering his third season?
Yeah, I think Harley's a funny one. He came in the first year and the weight of the world was on his shoulders. Now 3 years in and starting to understand what it takes to be an AFL player, and he sees some guys around him that have really good training standards. Mate, I don't think he's really changed too much other than the fact he's grown up a little bit and his professionalism has just gone to another level.
You've added a lot of talent in the off-season as well. Willem Dersma, Cooper Duff, Tytler and so too Josh Lindsay. Can we see them all making an impression? Do they get their round 1 against Gold Coast?
Mate, they've definitely made an impression already. Round 1 against Gold Coast, I'm not on the match committee, so I can't speak too much on that, but if I was, I'd be picking them there. Going really well. Coop's an extraordinary athlete for his size. Worm is a special player, and Josh is a player that we really value for his boyish off the half back. So each in their own right have done some incredible things this pre-season, and I can't wait, hopefully, to see them out there round 1, if not definitely early on in the season.
Everyone's looking forward to following their journeys. Matt, so thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much for that.
Alex Pearce has declared he is ready to go for round 1 after missing the side's pre-season matches with a calf issue. The Fremantle skipper making the call at the Dockers season launch, where the club tempered premiership expectations.
Launching into a new year, Fremantle presenting a united front. After missing a beat in recent weeks due to a calf injury, skipper Alex Pearce upbeat on taking his spot against the Cats in 9 days.
I've done a lot of work over the pre-season and I feel ready, and yeah, of course, that's my goal, and I feel like I'll be out there.
The club changing its tune from last year, where leaders declared they were primed for a premiership tilt.
Hope in sport can be powerful, but it can't be naive. This competition is relentless.
Coach Justin Longamuir addressing the mistakes made in the Dockers' failed 2025 campaign.
I have a mindset of going 1-0 every week, leave the previous performance behind, focus on the next opposition coming up, and if we can do that, we'll win enough games.
Geelong dealt a double blow ahead of their opening round clash with the Suns, missing star duo Patrick Dangerfield and Jeremy Cameron through injury. Former Eagles captain Oscar Allen making his Brisbane debut on Saturday night.
Thank you for making me feel very welcome. Looking forward to going out there on the weekend.
The reigning premiers promising to be even more powerful this season.
Quality players that are coming in as well, with Oscar Allen and Draper as well, so and young Dan Annabelle has had an unbelievable pre-season.
Their opponents, the Bulldogs, boosted by the inclusion of star Sam Darcy, overcoming hip and groin soreness. Sean Lindsay, 9 News.
Star Sydney forward Charlie Curnow has been held goalless to half-time against his former side Carlton in the AFL season opener. The Swans recruit finally kicking his first goal for his new club midway through the third quarter.
But wouldn't the Swans supporters love to see this float through the middle to a man? They stand and applaud. They want to see a lot more of that from the Big C. Setting it up for Grundy, off hands.
The Swans booting 12 goals to 4 in the third term, handing them a 39-point lead at the final change. And Aussie cricket star Alyssa Healy insists there's no sadness ahead of her final international match starting tomorrow at the Wacker. The 35-year-old preferring to focus on winning the multi-format series against India with victory in the day-night test.
A storied career coming to a close on home soil in the baggy green, but emotions not getting the better of Alyssa Healy.
Actually been fine, honestly. It's everyone keeps asking me how I'm going and I'm like, I'm okay.
Farewelling a 16-year international career, the focus in her 299th and final match, outright victory in Australia's multi-format series against India.
It's less about me, it's more about the result, and if we can get a result to go our way, then it'll make it extra special.
Healy scoring 99 in her only test at the Wacker 2 years ago.
I mean, I'm not going out there to make a duck, so if three figures come up, then so be it.
Two things would make her swan song more special. The first, longtime teammate Elise Perry getting back from a quad strain.
She trained really well yesterday, so is looking really promising, but from all reports it wasn't exactly a straightforward niggle that she had, so for her ability to get back up for this game is pretty remarkable.
The other, testing out the ground's newest attraction.
The water slide's a big talking point around our group, and whether or not we get to go down it at some point, I've been assured that we can. It's just a matter of when.
And remarkable scenes in Pakistan's Tape Ball League. This fan's unbelievable crowd catch, leaving commentators stunned.
Oh my word! Would you believe we have a Spider-Man here?
The lucky punter taking home 20,000 Pakistani rupee, around 100 Aussie dollars. Erin Harwood, 9 News.
So, Tomo, a big night here at the Eagles season launch for season 2026. And just before I go, an update, the Matildas leading Iran in the 80th minute of their Asian Cup clash 4-0.
4-0, that is great news. Paddy, looks like a beautiful night down there. Thank you. How the share market is faring since the Middle East war began, that is next. And slip, slop, success, the long-running SunSmart campaign, saving lives. Then this high heat is hanging around, Natalia, into the weekend.
Yes, Tomo, until Saturday, Sunday and next week will be much cooler though. I'll be back with your full forecast from Sculpture by the Sea at Cottesloe Beach very soon.
Here's what's making news on 9 tonight. The Bondi hero Ahmed Al-Ahmad and iconic commentator Dennis Cometti both honoured tonight in Sydney as the AFL season gets underway. For the first time since World War II, the United States has launched a torpedo to sink an enemy warship off Sri Lanka's coast. And Australian researchers have developed a tool that detects the risk of breast cancer by using an AI algorithm. There was a modest rally on the share market today following yesterday's brutal drop. Here's finance editor Chris Kohler.
It was a more than $60 billion wipeout yesterday, and investors were licking their wounds today. Our market managing to rebound just 39 points. Major stocks were mixed. BHP lost ground after paying out its dividend, and the Australian dollar is back above 70 US cents, but slipped overall today. But attention was on new household spending data, which showed a pretty slow January. Money was flowing towards essentials like health and away from things like furniture. But the most interesting part was the official data on cigarette sales. Here's what it looks like, but economists don't believe it. It looks like pretty much no one is smoking anymore, but the ABS says it's not capturing the shift to illicit purchases. In other words, the criminal tobacco industry is getting a lot of the money, but we don't know how much.
Thank you, Chris. Let's take a look at the price of unleaded petrol across Perth tomorrow. The average will drop a cent a litre to $1.87. But you can find it cheaper on Cowell Street in Lansdale, on Waggonda Road in Roleystone and on Thomas Road in Oakford. Diesel would jump 8 cents a litre to $2. The Slip, Slop, Slap, Sun Safety, don't want to say that one too many times, campaign is being hailed a lifesaver for younger generations. Australian study revealing sun-smart children are now 4 times less likely to develop skin cancer.
A slogan we know and trust. Slip, slop, slap. The Sun Safety campaign was created in 1981 with the help of researchers. Slip on a shirt, slop on sunscreen. The whole community knew that jingle. Now it's been scientifically proven to have had a positive influence. A QAMR Berghofer study tracking mole development in children under 12 between 1992 and 2016 found kids today are developing 50% fewer moles.
This halving of mole count over that period projects into a 75% reduction in melanoma rate. Brisbane used to have the dubious distinction of being the world capital for melanoma, and if we can achieve this reduction, we can hand that title on to someone else.
Now 43 years old, Kate and her twin brothers were among 4,000 participants in the study.
My parents were very into Slip, Slop, Slap, and that was a big campaign that we had on TV.
There are concerns with the rise in tanning culture in teens and young adults that sun safety may be slipping amongst the next generation. The study reinforces the importance of UV protection, especially in the early years of life.
We have really good sun-smart schools. We have no hat, no play. It gets harder to do in high school and adolescence, so there's still work to be done there.
Josephine Shannon, 9 News.
Broadway hit Anastasia has arrived in Perth, officially opening tonight at Crown Theatre. Inspired by the tale of the lost Romanov Duchess during the Russian Revolution, the musical features 4 young stars from WA sharing the role of little Anastasia.
We have 4 beautiful young local Perth girls who are playing young Anastasia in the show, and I think it's so exciting for them. They're all so talented.
Show runs in Perth until March 28. Get ready for a hot start to your weekend. Natalia with the forecast from Cottesloe next.
Welcome back to Sculpture by the Sea. The exhibition officially opens at our beautiful Cottesloe Beach tomorrow. More than 70 artworks on display, including this one called Artificial Real Time. Well, it was a hot March day. It's beautiful now though. 21 was our overnight low before we climbed to a top of 37, and right now in the city it is 29.1. To the charts, and the heat is due to a deep trough down the west coast. Tropical low 30U is currently off the Pilbara coast and will continue moving away into the Indian Ocean. Tropical low 28U is well off the Pilbara coast and is expected to dissipate as it approaches the Dampier Peninsula. Across the nation tomorrow, showers easing for Brisbane, a possible shower developing in Sydney. Melbourne, partly cloudy and 24, and a sunny 27 in Adelaide. In WA's north, Broome could see a shower or 2 and 35 degrees. A possible early storm and showers for the day for Port Hedland. Partly cloudy and 41 in Marble Bar. Further south, Geraldton heading for 39. The same top for Northam, and Kalgoorlie will be sunny and 36 degrees. On local waters, southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, tending southerly 15 to 20 knots in the morning. Seas and swell to 1.5 metres. Across the metro area tomorrow, Joondalup up to peak at 33, Fremantle 32 and Rockingham 33 degrees. So the official forecast for Perth, more blue skies and more heat on the way. 21 the low, then a top of 36 degrees tomorrow. Looking ahead, Saturday will be the scorcher at 38. A cooler change for Sunday, partly cloudy, the slight chance of a morning shower and 32. Mostly sunny and 30 on Monday, partly cloudy and 26 on Tuesday. Sunshine and just 25 on Wednesday, then a top of 28 this time next week. Nights will be as warm as 22 and as cool as 12 degrees. So some great weather for checking out Sculpture by the Sea. The exhibition, which has to be one of my all-time favourites, runs until March 23, Tomo.
What a beautiful night to be down the beach too. Natalia, thank you. That is 9 News for this Thursday, March 5. Stay on 9. A current affair is next. Enjoy your evening. Good night.